of Emergency Management, or 7 World Trade Center, was on the north side. The World Trade Center, the 2 towers sat in the middle.
That had been hijacked and their destinations were uncertain at that time. This is a live picture of Lower Manhattan, missing two of its most familiar profiles, obviously. The twin trade towers of the World Trade Center, iconic buildings here in New York, really representing, symbolic, if you will, of the enormous economic strength of this country. They sustained an attack in 1993. They were reopened. The country came back from that, and we went about our merry way again, thinking that in Fortress America this couldn't possibly happen. But of course it has. Neil Livingston is one of the most widely recognized experts on international terrorism. Mr. Livingston, we keep coming back to the same issue. This was a very sophisticated attack. This was not just a lone suicide bomber of some kind. 4 hijacking simultaneously.
The next probably couple of months, 2 months or so. This is the scene in Lower Manhattan. As we say, you're watching continuing CBS News coverage.
It's strange because my building, tower number 1, was the first to be struck. It was the second of the 2 to collapse. I had been out on the street not even a minute. I had made my way 1 block over to not so much the outside office areas of the side that I was on. And then we made our way to the stairwell and in a very orderly fashion made our way down 81 flights.
Was there a check? I mean, was it, you know, Fred, are you here? Bill, are you here? Mary, are you here?
Yes, but it was almost useless to really account for everybody not knowing what was going on, who could have been in the bathrooms. Luckily,
have a strong degree of probability that it's bin Laden, but I think you have to recognize that we are part of a world community, and we have to make sure that before we go out and do something, and I agree with you, if we get the persuasive evidence that I think the Egyptians, I think the Saudi Arabians, but
the Saudi Arabians, whose riches depend on us, would be angry for us for
not put those rescue workers into danger themselves. So that is obviously the problem. We were told by a couple of people that were in there before rescue workers that there are bodies, a number of bodies lying around in the debris and on the street there. Obviously, part of the job will be to bring them out. Also told by Port Authority officials that the building over there, which is building number 7, which you can see, that there is some concern on the part of Port Authority officials about the stability of that building at this point.
Capability for such a huge operation. Many world governments have ordered defense alerts and called emergency security meetings. In Moscow, President Vladimir Putin.
We're moving cautiously toward the building.
Keep your eye on that building. It'll be coming down.
Closer to the building, it was almost like nighttime. What was left of the building was a fiery hulk. The firefighters thought it might collapse. Pieces of the building kept falling.
The building is about to blow up. Moving back.
Rescue workers pushed people away from the scene.
We are walking back. There's a building about to blow up.
There's all these noises. I don't know what it is. No one can go in to get the people out. There's small explosions still going on. Did we just heard another explosion?
Go again.
There's another one. Hours after the attack, many smaller explosions rumbled through downtown.
Yeah, here's one of the guys who can tell you I'm okay, all right? Here, hold on. You want to call your mother or something?
You gotta get back from here.
I know that.
You gotta get back.
All right? Don't worry about me. You need to make...
Just to rehydrate so they can return to the parched canyon.
Building's going to collapse. Nothing information.
And it's always dangerous.
Building's going to collapse. Nothing information. Building's going to collapse. Nothing information. Building is going to collapse. Nothing information.
And then late afternoon, 5 p.m., still another building collapses. 7 World Trade Center, ruined by falling debris from the Twin Towers.
Thank you, Bill. We just stay with this photograph for this graphic for just a second. Well, no, there's number 7 coming down. When you think that part of the component of news coverage around the country every year is the excitement and the fun that people get watching an old building being demolished, and they wire it very carefully for days, and it's a very careful operation in order to make sure that a building comes down safely. I think the last one we saw was when they brought down one of the old casinos in Las Vegas. I mean, this is just stunning to see these things come down inside. In the case of the north and south towers there of the World Trade Center, you know, come down within a couple of hours as a result of the structural damage, weakening that was done when these aircraft hit them. And now number 7, the World Trade Center, which is 47 stories tall.
It's our understanding that that building had been evacuated when the collapse occurred.
This was known as Building 7 of the World Trade Center, and that is fresh video you're looking at of that coming down.
Now, again, they were able to get everybody out of that building before it collapsed. So I don't know whether it was accomplished by demolition experts or whether it just happened as a consequence of what occurred earlier today. Understanding that that building had been evacuated when the collapse occurred.
This was known as Building 7 of the World Trade Center, and that is fresh video you're looking at of that.
When the collapse occurred.
This was known as Building 7 of the World Trade Center, and that is fresh video you're looking at.
For Ann Wilson, yesterday's attacks brought back horrible memories from her childhood.
I grew up in England. I was in the Blitz during the war, and when I saw the devastation.
Certainly, number 7 that just went down as we were live on the air earlier on with MSNBC was cleared out. Most people, they said earlier that they were just waiting for that building to go down, so they were expecting this to happen. Not only that, it is still an awesome sight when this happens.
Spoke of inhuman attacks. The British Prime Minister Tony Blair spoke of a battle between the democratic world and terrorism.
Blocks. When the towers came down, like I say, they basically crumbled into themselves.
Yeah.
Did they knock over any other structures, smaller structures, brownstones, stores?
That I can tell you from having been there afterwards, not as much as you would have thought.
One of the things that I think is awfully hard. Give me a sense, just your best guess of how many people were in that area where you were. Are we talking hundreds of people? These are rescue workers, firefighters, police officers, and the rest?
Several thousand.
Several thousand people.
By the time we left, several thousand people were there helping.
And when you got there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I realized the last thing you were doing when you arrived at 2 o'clock in the morning was counting the number of people around you.
Are as he put it, quote, a part of a very heavy focus by the FBI, being looked at as suspects. White shirt, they both had black hair. As he described them, they weren't really light complected. Evidently, but what happened was they did impound the car. They took photos of it. It was impounded overnight by the state police and taken to the Maine State Police Crime Lab in Augusta, where it's being held for the FBI. Now, Chief Chitwood did say, gave you some sort of description. He said that
You can be a lot more careful about who you let on a plane. You can be a lot more careful about what kind of blades are allowed. You can be a lot more intelligent about using spies. We know that. We've said it overnight. We know what needs to be done. What was lacking was the will to do it politically, because you didn't need to do it. Now you do.
The collapse of 7 World Trade Center, the building they were so worried about injuring rescue workers, has freed up rescue workers to now go into the area, and they are moving in groups of 20 and 50 as their teams are designated.
So the principal danger to the rescue and recovery teams has been eliminated.
The biggest danger has literally removed itself.